right, looks like we got stuff coming in. Cool. All right, gonna wait for some people to come in. Oh yeah, cool, yeah. So feel free to ask questions. I'm gonna wait for some people to come in. We're gonna be starting in maybe a few minutes here. The outline is just gonna be educational. There's not gonna be any pitch at the end, so don't worry. This is gonna be helpful if you've never closed any clients, or you're scared to call and close clients, or if you're trying to scale an agency, but you're just dealing with like referrals and you're limited by SEO leads. So this is just a way to be active. So. Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, we'll be starting like in 3 more minutes. I'm gonna go get some water. All right. Let's see. All right, cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing this. All right, let me start sharing my screen. And I'm gonna start recording here. Let's go. All right, so thanks for coming. The way that this will work is there's gonna be something on the side here. There's a Q&A. I'm gonna be checking that periodically. If there's any sort of questions you have, leave that in there and I'll be able to answer it. If you're watching me on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live, on any other, just try and get to the Discord. The link should be with the broadcast and you can get access to this as I do them live. So there's polls, so feel free to look at any of the polls. I'll be talking about the results near the end of the stream or as I go through it. I'm going to be recording this right now, so whenever you want, I'm going to be posting this on the Facebook group as well as any sales templates. I don't like calling it scripts, I just like templates. on ways how you can call people, how you can email people, and how you can kind of close people for SEO. I'm going to talk a little bit about me for a few minutes. Basically, I mean, I've been doing SEO for 13 years. What I do every single day is just, I mostly do sales. So I call people day in, day out, and I use systems to do that. And I kind of streamline it. So I could probably find a few clips of me doing like a few dial sessions. So if I'm calling, let me see if I can't find, I do like a really long like call session when I'm like just reaching out to clips. There are a few here that I could probably link out, but at the end of the day, you want to do two things. You want to be able to find people, and you want to be able to, you know, reach out to people. As long as you're doing that, you're fine. So I'm going to break this up into 3 components: how you find people, how you open up to people, and how you keep following up with people. So you can follow along. I go to bbb.org. So that's an American website. There's tons of other websites. You can literally look up, if you're trying to target plumbers, type in your city, and then you'd be able to find plumbers. You just want to find people that they could literally be here, but there's a way to scrape that information. There's a plugin that I use called Instant Data Scraper. Instant Data Scraper. I'm just going to download it, and you're going to see how easy it is to use. So I'm going to download it. We're going to try and pull information. So I'm just going to add the Chrome. It has like a little Pokeball. I'm going to add this extension. It is so nice, right? Let's say I'm on BBB. It's just a database, and I'm looking up plumbers near me. I'm just going to type in Minneapolis. So plumbers, if you're aware, they make like $1,000 installing a water, right? They buy the water heater for a few $100s, and they install it. It takes like an hour. They make a lot of money. So I'm just going to find all the businesses, and you see that there's 714 plumbers, right? So now we just click the app here, and as it runs, it scans everything on the page. It knows that we're just trying to collect business info. That's like the point of this app. So I'm going to locate the next button, scroll down, click next, and then open it up again. I'm going to start crawling. Look right here. It says pages scrapped 1, pages scrapped 2, etc. It's going through, clicking that button, and collecting this information. The most important thing you need is not just the phone name of the business, but really the name of the guy that you're trying to talk to. Clicking that button and collecting this information. Here, so I'm gonna open this up. Right here. I'm just gonna open up a Google Sheet. I'm just gonna open up a new Google Sheet. You can have a virtual assistant. I mean, I still do it sometimes when I have the time. You're just trying to get the business owner's name. So I'm just going to go attach a new sheet. I'm just going to open up a Google Sheet. I'm going to import the sheet that I just downloaded. You can have a virtual assistant. I mean, I still do it sometimes when I have the time. You're just trying to get the business. The reason you want to take this extra step is you got to think about what the business owner is getting. They're getting like 20 or 30 phone calls a day of people saying, "Hello, sir or madam, I do SEO. Let me rank you #1." A plumber doesn't know what the word rank means. They just want to do water heaters, right? They just want to be able to do this. This is a quick link to their actual profile. So what I do is I make a column, first name, right? I get rid of this column. It's not really useful. It's just a picture. Right? I do first name and last name. Their actual profile. So what I do is I take this list and I just click this link. I'm only going to do a few, so you get the idea. I can see the website. So if the crawl didn't have the website in here, I'm just gonna make a new thing for website. And I just paste. I go down. Usually the name of the guy who runs the business is here. But it's not accredited, so someone didn't do it. So I'm just going to skip. I'm just going to make a new. I go down. Okay, there's a customer contact, Bob, who says he's the owner, Bob Hansen. So I'm going to copy that. but it's
No,
not
it's
accredited.
Bob
So
Hansen.
I'm just
Bob
gonna
Hansen.
skip.
Do they have a
I go
website?
down. Okay, there's a customer
Okay.
contact.
So
bottom
this
who
is
says he's
a union,
Hansen. So
which
I'm gonna copy
isn't
that.
really a business. So
No, it's
basically, I just like mindlessly go through this, right? Okay. Randy's and Sun Plumbing. Okay, that's actually a.
okay. So this is
There are ways that you can automate this. Let's look. Okay.
Really a business.
Brian R. Lane, president.
Basically,
So
I just
I'm
like
going to copy
mindlessly
this.
Go through this.
Put that in here.
Right. Okay. Randy's and Sun Plumbing. Okay.
Brian.
That's actually a business.
Brian Lane. So when you're calling or emailing or trying to reach out, you know the name of the person that's going to make the decision. If it's a company that has more than 100 employees, the business owner is just going to delegate it to like a VP of marketing or an office manager or a general manager. But if you're trying to help like a 10-person plumbing company, the business owner is going to make every single decision with the company. So I basically just go through this and just have a massive list. And I've done this so many times this year. I pulled attorneys, I've pulled lawn care companies, etc. And I kind of centralize it here, right? So I have one for plumbers, right, that I was working on. I have one for movers, and then notes here. So this is all public information. You don't need to have any sort of fancy tools. I just dial them, right? I just column here for the notes. I leave a column for the next time I should follow up with them. And then you can just flat out say, okay, these guys don't work. These guys left a message, left a voicemail, and you could do that. I use a professional software now that allows me to make 100 cold calls with, one call a minute, which is really handy. But this is what you need to do to get started. Like, there's no reason for you to, if you already know SEO and you don't have any top 10 clients yet, just do this, right? People aren't meeting. They're not, they're worried enough as it is. But if you can help them or offer value, they'll listen. And that's what this process is based on. We're going to be talking about the 5x7 technique. So let me see. In the chat, raise your hand if this has been valuable so far.
And that's what this process is based on. We're going to be talking about the
raise your hand. Okay.
7 technique.
Okay, cool. So, yep. One guy's really enthusiastic. Okay, right on. All right. So why do outreach? Why you're an SEO? They reach out to you.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it just kind of makes sense. Imagine that you're a business owner, right? You have 100 different things you have to worry about. You have tons of things you have to worry about. You get distracted about stuff all the time. You have jobs you have to do. You have all these things. And then you get like this random message of someone coming in that breaks through the noise, that interrupts you because you call them or you email them and it says, hey, I'm doing an audit of your competitor. They're gonna be like, wait, what? That you have an audit of your competitor.
You have all these things. And then you get like this random
They're going to be like, wait, you know my competition? You've done an audit? What does that mean? That sounds interesting.
And it says, hey, I'm doing an audit of your competitor.
Then you follow up with a call. You send them, so the 5x7 is really just 5 unique emails with 7, well really it's really just in follow-up. It's 5 unique emails and 7 follow-up.
That sounds interesting.
Basic actions that you do. That's basically say, hey, did you get my email?
Follow up with a call.
That's it. So the first call is like an intro, just to get you on the radar. Like, hi, I work. There's a way to just make that introduction the most powerful introduction you can, and then you just start sending them value to say, hey, I sent something to your competitor. I want to send it to you. They found value in it. I did an audit of the top roofing companies, and you were named in it.
Just to get you on the radar.
Would you like me to forward it to you?
I work. There's a way
right?
to just make
Would you like me to send this to you? They're gonna say, wait, what?
And then you just start sending them value.
Another is, okay, we did a website breakdown, and we took it as a video. Can I send this to you?
I did an audit.
They're gonna be like, wait, what? You can say, hey, we did like a full competitive analysis
of how people get water heater jobs in the area, and you were part of it. Would you like it at all? Like, what's your email? I can email it to you.
And we took it as a video. Can I send this
Right?
to you?
These are just some ideas. They're not exhaustive, but there's templates that you can just send. You can mail merge all of the people in the spreadsheet and just send them an email and send them this information. You can say, hey, if you're a web designer, you can say, hey, your website is hacked, or the website's old. It's on version 2.9. I didn't know that was possible. That's a security issue. Your web's problems. Can I send you it? You could say, hey, we've been talking for a while. I helped 5 other plumbers like you get 5 calls a day. Can I send you the info? And then after each one, wait a day, follow up. Did you get that case study?
Can I send you it?
What you think? What how was it?
I helped
What was it?
5 other plumbers.
Well, what did you think? What's your gut reaction telling you? The whole goal here is you're interrupting this little crap face stick figure with real value. You're not doing the hello or madam. I am an SEO. I do SEO. Me. I'm good. They get that 20 times a day. They really don't need to have it 21 times. This doesn't say anything to them. I get emails like this daily, and it is frustrating because I can't. It's a million different SEO companies, and they're almost all overseas. They've never researched me, and if they even start off and it says hello Jake, I will read them. I read every email I get. But if it says hello, if it's not even targeted to me, and it's just a generic business, email, it just goes to spam, right? So basically, this is true for most outreach attempts, even if it's just email or calling. When you interrupt someone, they want to think, the first thing they think is, who is this guy? Do I know him? Who is this person? Do I know them? Do I want to talk to them? And if you start off with the generic traditional SEO or any sales call, hello, this is Jake with the web agency. How's it going today? We call this we call this a hate crime. How's it going today? Like, I just call it a hate crime. Hate crime. It's just terrible. If you're a salesperson talking, no one actually cares about someone, a stranger. Like, that's not realistic. You're not going to say, oh, okay. And then you start talking about the coronavirus, and then the guy's like, okay, well, are you here to buy from me? Like, do I know you? They're thinking, if you make them uncomfortable and you start pitching them, like, I can do SEO, I can rank you, they're going to be thinking one thing: how can I get this guy off the phone, or I don't reply to the email, that's the easiest way, or anything. How can I get this guy off the phone in a nice and easy way and tell him to go pound sand? Like, basically, go do whatever. I really don't care. Send me info. I really just leave me alone. They're not gonna say that. They're gonna say, oh yeah, sure, yeah. We're not really interested. The business owner's not here, even though he's the business owner. And the way you do that is with a proper opening technique. And the proper opening technique does not take more than a few seconds to do. Do not open without a template, because you're gonna sound like you're just you're gonna be mumbling. You're gonna be slow. You're gonna be too enthusiastic. You're not gonna know what works because you're not recording it. Just don't open it. And it's really just 3 things to open. So if you're talking to them, there are just 3 things you need to open with, and it just makes sense here. So you basically need to just talk about open up with something that's, 1, meaningful, that is basically real, that is honest, that is just, it could be flattering, and it could straight up just be like, just open. Like it's a real, honest, flattering, making the conversation open, and it is most importantly something that they've never quite heard before. It's a pattern interrupt, right? It's not the hey, how are you? It's I don't know if we should even be talking. Do you have 20 seconds? Wrap a little bit of context around it, and maybe you tell me if we should keep talking or not. They never get that call. They honestly never get that conversation. So what does that sound like? Hey, we've been working on one of your competitors, and they named you as one of their top competitors. And we put together something for them that we'd like to forward to you. It shows them how they're ranking on Google, but they're not perfect, but I'd like to send this to you, right? That starts off, it sounds kind of honest. It sounds very real. It sounds meaningful. It's kind of flattering, like, wow, someone else considers us a competitor? Like, we're important? We're important enough? That's what they think. They're not going to say, yeah, go away. They might say who, which is why you do your research and at least look up the top competitor that they have, so it sounds plausible. What I like to do is I actually audit and then call. So you audit, maybe the top few plumbers, and then email everyone else. You don't have to do email. You can also do LinkedIn. You can also do Facebook. You can also text the business's number. But the first thing has to be real and meaningful. Okay. The second thing, you have to tie it back to what you do. Why you and why you now? Like why should you even bother having this conversation? Like the first thing I open up with, the first template is, I open because I'm auditing someone else's website for their SEO rankings, and I'd like to send an email. Is it Bob at plumbing, like bobsplumbing.com? They're gonna say yes or no. They're gonna be like, okay, why you? Like, I'm auditing this right now, and I've been doing this for a while. I want to help you, right? Why is this relevant right now, right? You have to fit that in the second sentence. The first sentence is meaningful and true. The second sentence is relevant. Why you? Why now? And the third sentence in your opening is really a specific sort of ask. You can do an open-ended question, or something to confirm, like a short question, kind of understand their situation. Don't ask no more than three, because then you just interrupt their day and it just becomes a question bonanza. You're just asking all this stuff. But it could be something like, hey, can I email this to you? If I send it, will you see it? What's really interesting is a pattern interrupt, which is a reverse, which is like, you wouldn't be interested in this, would you? That's money. That works almost every time. Like, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested in this. Would you? You want me to send it? You won't. You wouldn't want me to send this to you, right? So once you get through that, that is a very important thing. It's a very important thing to just have the first conversation be real, be relevant, and really, like, ask them something and ask them to start the conversation, right? They don't want to be asked 20 questions. A traditional salesperson is trained, ask them, are they doing marketing? Are they doing, how much are they spending on money, on marketing? They're not doing SEO, save time for that. The best sort of outcome in the first call should be basically set an appointment to talk later. That's like literally the best sort of outcome. Like, hey, I know you're busy now. I'm just gonna, if it makes sense, you can tell me if you want to keep talking another day. And they're gonna say, well, sure, yeah, fine, you got 20 seconds, go, shoot. The second outcome is send them an email. If they can basically say yes to an email and they're honest and they say, sure, it's like, that's okay, because then you can follow up with them, which is part of this 5x7 technique, where you are still doing, you're still following up. Remember, it's that one intro that you're doing, then you're following up, and then there's another intro, or no, another sort of call where you're following up, but it's something unique and different. And then you're following up with that. So you're basically doing an email, or it doesn't have to be an email. Like it could be a chat, like a PM or Facebook, but then you call about it, right? But after you do 5x7, right, you'll see that you're following up like a second time, right? You're making a call, then you're doing an email. You're making a call, then you're doing an email, and you're doing a call, but then there's one more call you have to do. What is that call? Call is the breakup call. So if you're talking to a prospect and it's been 30 days and they're not really interested, but you know that they're perfect, you basically say, hey, I know this isn't something you're prioritizing. I know there's something you aren't prioritizing this year. Wish you the best of luck. I want to say wish you the best of luck. I was like, so I'll stop reaching out or something. Like I'll just say something like that. Like, hey, I know this isn't something you're prioritizing. I'll stop bugging you. Be well. Whatever. Just make it amicable. Don't be like, okay, gosh, bye. People do that, and it's weird. It's like this weird passive aggressive thing. Don't do that. Spread this out over a few. It doesn't have to be months. Spread it out over a month. Like one call, maybe your first week could be 2 touches, a call and an email, right? And then the next week, another call and an email, whatever works. You'll find something that works. So once you're able to just have that introduction, you're going to send them an email, and the email is what you've talked about, right? And then you follow up and say, did you like it? What I'm working on now, right? You're doing basically a prospecting chain. You're calling about something, and then you're sending something, and then the next time you call, you're talking about if they liked the thing, but now you're doing this, and then you send, and then you send the thing, and then the next time you say, hey, did you like the thing? Did you like the thing and this? I'm now sending this. And then you send that. Over time, they're going to be like, okay, this is different. This guy, why? There's too much value. They're going to start asking questions. And then when you break up with them, they're going to say, what? Most salespeople are hungry, or your traditional salesperson is like, when you think about a salesperson, they're sleazy, they lie, they're dishonest, and they go and they hustle. But when you say, hey, listen, I shared value, I've answered some of your questions, I've understood your business. I don't like to be led on. They have other opportunities. They have a wealth of opportunities. They're gonna do fine. Then the prospect's gonna be like, I want that SEO info on tap. Am I missing out? They're gonna think that. And that's if you've kept a relationship with them. So I'm going to be talking about really, maybe if you've done this step and you talk to you a lot, why aren't they buying from you? I'm going to be talking about how you can basically build rapport, right? How you can basically build rapport, understand what sort of personality the other person has, and it's backed by science. Like, this is real. It's like a psychological law. I'm going to share this, and I'm just going to share what's okay and what's okay, the okay not theory. I'm just going to hop into the chat real fast. see if people are asking questions. Thanks for doing this. Do you recommend the free courses on Moz? Yeah, do those. How do you deal with mail received in spam when you send these cold emails? I change emails. You can get a new Gmail account for free. The limit is like 25 emails a day. If you're really sending 25 emails and you're making 25 calls and you're getting 25 calls, by the end of the month you're gonna have 1 to 2 clients. So if you send 25 emails and you only get like 5 fee print emails, you saw how we can do that like in really just like a few seconds, right? It's really easy. What books do you recommend for sales psychology? I'm gonna give you a crash course on them. Not Spain selling. Spin selling is paramount. Challenger sale is more relevant. Anything by Jeb Blunt, so he does EQ or sales EQ. For this context, for prospecting, he has a book on fanatical prospecting, which is great. There's tons. Like I've basically done videos explaining them. What CRM do you use? Zoho. I use Zoho 1. It's like 35, and it covers like 60 other software that you're probably paying for. It covers like QuickBooks and all these other things. So Dale Carnegie has like the how to befriend and how to be, how to make friends and influence people, right? Like that's basically a book like every person should read that. Like read that if you've never read any books on communications. Yeah. On Facebook, I'm not trying to like Discord's not a good repository. I can't sticky, so I'm gonna leave it on Facebook. I'm just doing this as I go. Okay, cool. Yep. Make sure you check out polls, because I'm basically going to be talking about this, as it relates to rapport building. Just going to this poll. Do you consider sales, even building rapport and talking with folks, do you consider that an art or a science? Is it something that, it's something that you're just inherently good at? Like to talk to people, it's just something that you already have a talent for? Or is it like a science? It's something that you can measure. Is it something that you can track? I'm just gonna pop in that and check the results. Oh no. Oh no. Does it work? Okay, I'm just gonna check QA. It's not quite working. I'll be able to publish the results after. Maybe at the end it shows. Yeah, maybe. I should be able just to click the results and see what's going on during. With the attendees here, raise your hand, flash your hand if you think art, or if you think sales is an art. It's something that you're inherently good at. You're an extrovert, so you're good at sales. You have a skill. Okay, put your hands down. Raise your hand if you think it's a science. It's something that you can track. It's something that you can use data. Okay, cool. I believe it's both in a way. It is something that some people are good at, but I'm leaning way more towards that it's a science. But you still have to have someone that's still good at talking. You can't just use numbers all the time. You still have to have some sort of skill behind it, I believe. But yeah, no, thanks for that participation. So when you're talking to folks, you can still develop a way to cold read people. So I'm going to share this with you. This is basically basically something that allows you to just cold read a person, and this is called the disc. You can look up the extended disc. So people like Dan Locke will tell you that they that they have a way to read people, or people have a way to like do psychology and figure out their personality types. You can just look up extended disc. They're all repeating this extended disc theory. Like it's well known. It's actually like it's something that works. Think about how there's different. Oh my God, this isn't even. Think about how there are different sorts of people and how they work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this. This is a 2x2 grid. There are people that are I'm going to change the size here. There are people that are task oriented, right? There's people that do tasks, like they work with tasks. Like SEOs, we do stuff. We work on a site, or we manage a project, or we're designing something. Or there's people that work with people. So salespeople, people work with people, right? Like an HR person, they're just processing stuff, right? Or a person that works in retail, they're just walking around, right? So there's also people are just, you know, they're kind of I wouldn't say introverted. Everyone is, you know, I believe everyone's like introverted and extroverted. I think that's just a stupid label. But the disc explains that some people are really reserved. Like they're not super outgoing, right? So these are people that you don't necessarily, it's not a bad thing. I don't know how to change the label, but it's just something that you can obviously see. I'm just going to say reserved. But then you have the talkative people. So these are people that are, you know, basically they are extroverted. But you know, they're outward. They're you know, they get energy from people. They talk with people. That's what they do. They're good at it, right? I'm just going to put extroverted. There's different sort of things that you can think about. To kind of like label people. Think about your typical accountant, right? Someone that's good with structure and order, right? They are reserved, but they work with tasks. Think about an owl. What are they typically known for? They're wise. They think in a, oh my God, too small. They think in a 360 sort of way. They want to see the big picture, right? You don't want to rush them. You don't want to rush these people. They have to see everything. They care about points and lists. They are people that want to have like control on everything. They have to make sure everything's right. Like I wouldn't say OCD, but they want to have control, right? So just think about an owl for this. So I'm going to be color coding these because the disc is color coded. Now think about someone that is still working with tasks, but someone that is more extroverted. Usually these are people that are managers. These are business owners. These are people that are direct. These are people that want to win. Losing is not an option. Oh my God, if you find a client that is like a super CEO guy, do not mess up. Don't lie and do something. You have to win at all costs with these guys. They are very regal. They demand respect. They are short, brief, and to the point. What kind of makes sense? What kind of animal do you think about when you think about something like this? What comes to mind is like an eagle, right? Like a regal eagle, like just like a nice majestic. Everyone respects it. It is, it's ferocious, but it is something that is at the top of the chain. As long as you respect their time, the eagle sort of business owner sort of personality type, you can talk to that. Don't keep talking, blah, 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 blah. They're going to hate that. But when you find someone that is, they deal with people. Oh my God. They love to talk. They love to talk. Don't stop them from talking. They will love you. They basically will talk. They're colorful, right? they're colorful, they talk about stuff, they're emotional. That was obviously this sort of type. This is someone that is really, they were, you know, they were a salesperson, but like they collaborated. Like they want to make sure, you know, not just everyone's included, but they want to have fun. So whenever I talk with people like that, you know, if I set aside like a 1 hour meeting, they start talking about their kids, their house, their job, you know, their hobbies, and I have to take like 5 minutes to be like, hey, let's talk about this, then let's talk business. Let's take 5 minutes. Okay, you're good? And they're like, yeah, fine. And then, okay, let's talk business. Whatever you do when you find someone that gets like that, I wouldn't say they have like ADHD, where they're just like, squirrel, I'm going to talk about that. Oh, yeah. They're excited. The worst thing that you can do is you cut them off. You inject your ideas when they're being, you know, passionate in their talking. Don't do that. What is kind of colorful, that likes to talk, that is, you know, kind of energetic, that likes, you know, that's I like the idea of a parrot. That's pretty cool. The last sort of thing, I would say most people, especially people that work a 9 to 5, they're usually reserved, but most people are kind of falling into this last one. These are people that want to make sure that everyone's, I'm going to change colors here, that everyone's happy. You want to make sure that everyone's happy, that everyone is included, that everyone says okay. They are diplomatic. They are, you know, they're graceful, right? You know, when you think of it like an HR guy, they follow processes. They do, while they do like structure, they like to do things in their own way. So if you give them, if you work with someone and you tell them to do a task, they're going to say, oh, well, I like, how do I do it? Like, what's the structure for it? But how do I do it in my own way? Like most of you guys, I'm not saying you guys fit in here. I'm not saying anyone fits in here 100%. It's really a blend. There is a dominant one. But usually, you know, people in this want to make sure it is okay, that there's harmony, right? If these are sort of business owners, right? Even if they're business owners, they still fit here. This is like a person that has to get input from everyone else. Basically, they have to say, well, I have to get an okay from Joe. I have to get an okay from Beth. They're in HR. You know, from, you know, they're a CFO, so on. What's something here that we could use for an animal? Something that's diplomatic and graceful. You know, I like the idea of like a dove, right? Just like a white dove, right? It's just nice and majestic. So when you look at this and when you think about it, the D in DISC stands for dominant. The I is for influencer. The S stands for supportive. And the C stands for conscientious. I really hope I'm spelling these right. If I am, well, right? There's a certain way you can identify them, but there's a certain way you don't. And there's a certain way you talk to them, and there's a certain way you don't, right? When you see this, it just makes sense. So when you start talking to people like an eagle and say, hey, listen, and you know they act like it, you can say stuff like, well, you know, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, 20 seconds, I can be really fast. Are you interested in this? I believe I can help you like win. I can rank. I can overcome your competitors. Do you want me to do this for you? I can send you more info. They're going to be like, whoa, okay, yeah, sure, tasks. I like it. I can see. Okay, cool, bye. They're briefing to the point, right? But there's one more thing that you can use to build rapport. And this doesn't have to be for business. Like I use this on the girlfriend all the time. I know what kind of person she is. All right, I can use this on my friends. I can use this on people. It's not exploitive. I'm not trying to manipulate them. That's just how they like to be spoken to. Keep the DISC in mind, but also keep this in mind. I call it's VAK, visual, auditorial. Yeah, visual, auditorial. I'm probably spelling it wrong, but you get it. visual, auditorial, and kinesthetic. Kinesthetic. But if you get what I mean. So there's people that like to talk with how they sense stuff. So for me, I think I'm pretty visual. You know, I like to explain. I like to see my info through visual. Oh, I'm going to expand this out. I like to see stuff through visuals. I like to use the phrases like, I see what you're talking about. I see what you mean. And then you say stuff like, oh, okay, 20,000, 20,000 square foot view, or eagle, if you're talking about it, if eagle eye view of your business, what's going on? Where are the fires? Using descriptive visual language, and that's gonna make my brain be like, I like you. You know how to talk to me. You know how to talk to me. Right? Use that sort of language. So if you know someone's like diplomatic, like a dove, and you want to make sure people include people, you can say stuff like, hey, and you know that they're visual, you can say something like, I want to see if your buddy can also see the big picture, right? It's just stuff like that. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, sure. So that's visual. Auditorial is like when you have, it's really just stuff that that you hear, right? So it's things like, hey, here's, if you're talking about, you're communicating, it's like, hey, I heard that you wanted me to talk to you about this new and booming idea, right? They use things like, okay, you want to talk cash money, things that are kind of like, kind of sing-songy, but things that, it's like bling bling, just things like that, words like that mean like their sounds, they're interested in having conversations about that. They talk about who said, he said, what was spoken. There's like, they place more emphasis on what was heard. So when you have your language say, hey, if I told you about interested, it's like, if I talked to you, would you be interested? Like they'd be able to be reactive with that. So when you're talking to someone that's an influencer, like a parrot, and you say stuff like, hey, I hear what you're saying. That's really nice to hear. Thanks for telling me about that. Is that a problem? Right? If they're like, we don't have rankings. Oh, I hear you. Right? You don't say, hey, I see what you're saying. And there's a disconnect. Finally, there's the kinesthetic. I'm misspelling it. I'm just typing. Kinesthetic people are people that are basically feely people. These are people that hug you or shake your hand too long, right? When they first meet you. They're people, obviously with the quarantine, these people are really hurting, but they say stuff like, hey, I feel like this isn't a good idea. Or they say stuff like, my gut reaction, it's like, my stomach, they talk about their body as a way to really communicate. It's so interesting, right? They're really just talking through their body. They're talking about feelings. They say, this makes me feel really anxious. Oh, why? I was like, why does this make you feel this way? And then you go from that. So these sort of people are they're more I wouldn't say emotional, but they are people that, they're just like, I bought SEO and I was burned. So my gut tells me that this might be the same. But they're still talking to you. They're just communicative through their emotion. If they're people that, they're very handsy, this is really, really nice. If they're really handsy, they put their hands on your shoulder and they talk, do the same. That's how they talk. Body, the way that you communicate, only 7% only 7% of what you communicate is through the actual words themselves, which is kind of nuts. Like what I'm talking about, only 7% is coming through. If you saw my body, you know, you could see that 55% of my emotion is through just body language. Body language, right? And the last is really just based on tonality. So if I was like really shy, I sounded like this, they're not gonna take me seriously and it's gonna communicate that I'm scared. But really, no, actually, I'm gonna touch on this. So if you look at this and you're thinking, 7% of the words is actually communicated is just through the words, and that's kind of silly. Just think about this. If I said something like if I write this out, I didn't say that. If I say this sentence, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, yes. Yeah, sure. There's 7 different ways I can make this. Just through tonality. I could say, I didn't say that she paid me. I didn't say that she paid me. I didn't say that she paid me. I'm only stressing the one that I'm bolding. I didn't say that she paid me. 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 Right? Tonality. I communicated more in 7 words than I could say if I just talk a bunch of words. Right? It's people see that when you're communicating. It's very hard to do it. If you're writing an email, you're only doing this. If you're doing stuff over the phone, you're able to do this and this. And if you're in person, you get to do all of it, which is why once COVID is taken care of, I still do meetings. I still do face-to-face, but only with people. You know, you can do it through video, right? So I'm going to be talking about discovery questions. So these are questions that basically when you're talking, how can you really sort of make sure that you're communicating? The right idea is you want to really seek, oh shucks, I'm trying to set up. You're really trying to seek to understand before you seek to be understood. Which is really important. Whenever you work with someone, hell, anyone, even your friends, your family, they care. I'm not saying they don't care about you, even if it's a stranger. Most people are the main character in their own lives. They care about themselves and not you. So if you say, I can help you for free, they might think there's a catch, but they're going to see that there's value in it. But when you say something like, hey, I'm the best SEO in the world. I'm not, but I'm the best SEO. I have 100,000s of keywords. They're going to say, so what? I'm hungry, right? Or it's like, you're right, they're going to think about their own problems. Like, I don't have money, bye. While they do, they just want to get you off, right? Just seek to be understood, because when you start to talk like that, and you're talking about how you're in SEO, and they don't know what SEO even stands for, you're making them not okay. But you're okay. So there's a scale that is being tipped, which means they will hang up. Basically, they're going to hang up or basically not reply, right? They're just going to ignore you. So the secret is basically try and make sure they are more okay than you. You can fake it. If they're being like emotional, dial it down. You're not emotional. but you're not okay too. So what I hired an SEO before I got burnt. I was like, you don't feel angry for them, just be on their level. Just like, oh, I get that, right? It's like, oh, I get that. I hear that too, right? It's just, I'm not okay. You can literally say the phrase, I'm not okay with how others do that to others. It's a real shame, right? They feel understood. Another way is if you're talking to them and they get confused, just if you're talking about if you're talking about WordPress websites, they don't know what a domain is, let alone they don't know what a DNS record is. They don't know what an hrefs is. They don't know what a SEMrush or an authority link. They don't know what a backlink. They don't know what a PBN. So when you say, hey, we do backlinks, and they go, what? That's going to trigger something, and they're going to be like, I feel dumb, right? That's what they're thinking. I feel dumb. He's saying it like it's so obvious. Am I dumb? I'm not okay. I'm very not okay. And he keeps talking about stuff I feel like I should know. Hey, something came up. I gotta go. I gotta go. Bye. And then the conversation stops. Really don't want that to happen. So if they're confused, maybe it's like, hey, and you can be like, let's slow down. I am a bit, I'm a bit discombobulated. When you said you do roofing, like, what does that mean? So that way they're like, wait, lol, he doesn't know what roofing is? Let me tell you. And then he's like, roofing, you do shingles, you do roof repairs, you install, you put on downspouts, sometimes you do windows, you do exteriors, whatever. Make them feel more okay than you. You don't have to actually, don't be emotional, right? So that's how you go around and you start asking questions. So if you recall, book a time to call to ask these questions. Okay? When you set time to talk, it doesn't have to be more than 5 or 10 minutes. I still like the book Spin Selling. If you've never read a book on sales, read Spin Selling. But what that means is you're just really asking like a few questions here, right? You're just asking a few questions to understand their situation, understanding their problems, understanding, you're asking, you're basically implicating that if they don't hire you, things will either stay the same or get worse. Things are bad. But when they say something like, yeah, no, I really need to show up in Google for this, you can say, oh, that sounds really good. Like, why? Would that help you? Right? It's a need payoff sort of question. So I'm just going to talk about a few of these sort of questions that you can ask, right? So let's say you're talking with someone and you're actually talking. You can just say, hey, are you doing marketing? No short answer question. They're going to say, well, yeah. You're not building rapport. You're not actually getting them to talk, but it is something. Oh, does that work? Has it worked? Okay. They say something like, well, we hired an SEO before. Oh, an SEO? Did they rank you for anything? Did you show up in Google? Right? It's a yes or no. It's like, oh, I hired an SEO. It's like, did he keep you on a contract for a year? Is it that site? Is it like a big agency or a freelancer? Right? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, no, these are relevant questions. Yeah. Would you want to show up for roofing? Is not a situation question. It is a need payoff question. How you can tell is that it's a bit happier sounding if it was true, or if it happened, right? Just try and figure out where they're at. You can say something like, were you aware that this is a problem, right? And they would be like, yeah, no. So that's like a situation question that you can ask. The problem questions are when they start to talk about themselves a little bit more. So when you say something like, hey, have you hired? This is after you have a situational question. Maybe ask a problem question. A situation question is like, have you done SEO before? And then you say something like, yeah, we hired someone, didn't like it. Okay, so they tried someone in the past and they didn't get results. So there's two things you can ask. Literally, you can put them side by side or ask two different questions. You can say, oh, what about them didn't work out? So that's open-ended. Another sort of question you can ask if someone says that, oh, it's like, what didn't you like about it, right? Or another problem question, how far do you think they got for you? Or like, it's just open-ended questions. How, or at what areas could they improve upon, or how much do you, things like that. It's just trying to understand what they were doing. Do you know what they were doing? Why do you think they didn't succeed? Right? Things like that. Try and ask, if these are for big ticket things, you're not going to go to like a big, open box retailing company and buy like a $5 flash drive and ask, the salesperson is going to ask you a bunch of questions. They're just going to say, yeah, it's 12 gigs. Do you need 12 gigs? Do you want 4 gigs? Oh, just buy. Right? It's like, and the customer is gonna be like, how much does it cost? Oh, it's $14. Oh, okay. Like that's it. You don't need to use implication questions to do this for small tickets. For big tickets, like if it's like $500 plus, you want to ask a few of these. Studies show in the book Spin Selling, the more of these and the more of the need payoff questions, the more likely you'll be able to help them, right? So an implication question, and I'm not even able to spell. Implication questions are basically questions that they talk about a problem. So after the last problem, you ask something like, what do you think went wrong? And then they say something like, I don't think I got any reporting. Or no clue, they ghosted me and I paid. So there's like a problem that they're obviously talking about, and you have info, so you can ask questions. Say, basically, you're not trying to twist, but people buy from pain. You're not going to go to the doctor and the doctor's being like, you have like, your arm's bleeding and you're sick. That's something I can totally help you with. I can do, it's just things like, what would happen if you didn't get care right now? Right? It's like that. Like, if someone's like, I didn't get any reporting, that went wrong. And so you can say like, it's kind of negative sounding. So it's like the lack of reporting is like, so the lack of reporting led to a bad campaign, right? It's like, oh, so okay, that's a shame. That's terrible, right? That they ghosted you. Have you dealt with a lot of shady SEOs before? That's so sad. Sorry, right? Right. Let's look at a different sort of problem question that gets asked. Like it's like, have you spent money on SEO? And then the guy says, yes, we're on page 2. The implication question would be like, what would happen if you stayed there? They're going to be like, well, I'm not going to get results. I'm almost there. I need help, right? Or I need to be on page 1. When they say this, they say the word need, or they really want it, right? Another sort of implication question is like, one is doing SEO for me. Okay. So do you think that your competitors, might done and then get more work, possibly, that you should have gotten? Whatever. It's like do you think others are taking work from you? Which is powerful, because if there's a job, like a block away from them and they miss that, that's really bad, right? But when they say something like, I need to be on front page, or I need help, or I would need this, I would like this, can you help? Don't flat out say, yeah, do this. If they say, I need help with, obviously, they might say something like, obviously I need help with ranking, right? You basically have a need payoff question. And it sounds positive, it's a flip, right? You chain your benefit to their need. So when you say something like, oh, so if I was able, you won't necessarily say I. So if you were on the front page, what would happen? Or you can say something like, how many more sales do you think you'd get if you were on page 1? Right? Then they answer. The answer is something like, I'd get more money, more bookings, I'd get more results, I'd get happier, I'd be stressed, I'd be less stressed, I'd be less stressed. If they say that, be like, oh, okay, that's what we do. We rank websites to help folks be less stressed. And then you ask a different question. You can go back to a problem question. About the last, they have any reports that, or not reports, they have any files they shared, or keywords that you discussed, right? And then you go from there, problem, implication, and then they say, obviously I need keywords. I need a keyword report. Do you do it? Oh, right? If you had that, what would that do for you? Would it help? Right? That's not even super structured. It just sounds nice. The goal with that is to really build an understanding that you understand them, but you are talking, notice, you're talking 30% of the time and they are talking 70% of the time. So many SEOs talk about themselves, their results, their service, their product, and it's like, I want to say something, but they can't. Don't let them talk more. But the goal is to, during discovery, give out your info. Remember, we were talking about questions. They don't know you. They don't know your service yet. They know you can help, and you're the only one that knows more than anyone else. Obviously, you're going to trust you more. I've closed like $5,000 a month just because I've asked these questions. And they're like, yeah, we had 3 competitors. We had one that gave me an audit, that was smart. We had one that just pitched right away. We just ignored them. And then there was you that took the time to understand. We didn't even get paid. We didn't consult us. You just asked us questions. We like you. You sound like you know what you're doing. You're just people like people that understand them, right? But the goal of discovery is to really just get people on really just a closing call. And the closing call is really just a line. Once they go from asking questions, once they cross the line, then that's when they become, like a real prospect. Because if you're asking questions and then a budget comes up and they don't have a budget, just sorry, we're not a good fit, right? Or if there's like, hey, I have a budget of like $200. Fortunately, I think we have to part ways, right? It's like, even though my services start at 200, the expectations that you have to try and rank something to the top, it's not going to work out. Is it okay if we end this call? They're going to be like, wait, no. I mean, I would like to start, but I have a budget of like 1,000. Well, okay, fine, we can keep talking. But once you ask the right discovery questions, you understand if you can actually help them, they become a real prospect. At first, everyone is suspect. They're not even a client. A client is when you sell them. A suspect is someone that you think you could talk to. And then if they're okay, that you can actually help them, they become a prospect. And then once they're okay and they're qualified, and then they become a prospective client. And then once they've actually closed, and then they're a client, right? Just keep track of the people that you talk to. Keep track of the people that you suspect, like a list. Keep track of the people that you're talking to. Keeping track of the people that you've done discovery for, and obviously keep track of the people that have seen the demo. Maybe they haven't even closed, like that you've seen the demo, right? And then keep track of keep track of the clients, right? The demo and the closing call, I'll talk about that, but I'm going to go to the QA and ask a few questions. I'm just going to go and make sure everyone's asking some questions here. I'm not sure if I'm just ratting off here. I'm just going off of paint, which is kind of nuts. If there's any sort of questions, I'll be able to answer them. Okay. We still got a good following here. Hey, raise your hand if I'm going at a good rate, good pace. Okay. It's a bit basic, but yeah, no, I appreciate it. If there's any questions, feel free to drop them. I'm going to keep going. So I'm not going to show off my slides. I will be able to show off, just like a basic opening script. I'll be able to show you one for both call and for email. But when you get someone and you're asking questions and you're like, hey, what's the next step, right? Just say, okay, well, what do you want me to do? You can basically ask this question: how do you basically make decisions in your company, right? Or what's your criteria for making a purchase like this, right? Who else besides you needs to be on a proposal call or something? Who else besides you needs to check off on a decision like this, right? What's their process and what's their criteria? They're going to tell you how you can sell to them. It works almost every time, unless if you haven't built rapport. They'll just tell you. Who else besides you? Or who else besides me? We gotta talk to Becky from finance. We gotta talk to the chief operating officer. Needs to sign off on it. Me. But yeah, no, that's it. It's just the three of us. Okay, cool. Would you be able to, to talk to them, right? And bring them, just know before you get to that step, just, okay, ask who, but then you gotta ask what their process is, right? Most people don't have a process. They just say, if I like it, I buy it, right? Which is still a process. No process is a process. Sometimes they say, okay, well, I want to get a contract, right? I want to get an agreement. I want to get a presentation. I usually see a presentation, or I just want to see bullet points, which is my favorite. Eagles are great. They just want to see a bullet point. They're just like, I just want a bullet point of what you're doing. Great, right? It's like, I will do X, Y, and Z. That's it. Like, I literally sent a contract 2 days ago. I got paid, and it was just 5 lines in a contract, and they signed it. It was so great. I love it. Sometimes they say, well, I have to learn about it. Okay, great. I'll educate. Okay, I'll educate you on what SEOs are doing nowadays. This is like my favorite one. I just educate. Like, they just see one of my webinars. I send them a link, they watch it, and then they just pay. And then I log in the next day, and they're like, oh, cool, the guy paid. And I tell my team, I'm like, hey, we got a new client. They saw the webinar and they paid, right? So I'm a fan of the education close, because most people are just pitching. They're pitching. But when you say something like, hey, if I mapped you, Bob, if I mapped out how to implement SEO and how it works, for you, the Bob and Becky, would that work? And they're gonna say, yeah. Or no, I'd rather get this. Okay, right? And criteria. All you've done is ask questions, but maybe they've seen your site, they've seen the portfolio, they've seen your reviews. I'm lucky because I have 5-star reviews. If you want to leave me a few reviews, that would be cool. But if your clients are looking at these, they see that you're trustworthy. They see, oh, this guy is good, but maybe they don't. So you ask, what sort of criteria do you get a decision like this? Like, what do you guys need to do to figure out if this is a good buy? They're going to say something like, I want to see the process, right? I give them the audit, right? I want to see results. Like, you show them a graph, right? You show them the Google Search Console that you've actually done the results. I want to see reviews. It's like, oh, cool. Sure, I can print that to you. These are ones that are also really difficult because you might not have them. If you're talking with a lawyer, do you want to see if you can get a letter of recommendation? Like, I've gotten those and I've lost them because I didn't have them ready. Like, lawyers want to get other lawyers saying yes, things like that. They want to see a letter of recommendation. If it's a really big company, right? Because they're not going to spend 10 grand if someone else didn't spend 10 grand, right? And a way around that is you could say, well, I could get you that, but here's a list of 10 clients who you can call, who I've asked, that I've asked permission, ask them about me, how it worked out. They're going to say, oh, sure, fine. Instead of 1, there's 10 real people. Sure, you can't fake that, right? They might ask, for the criteria that they're going to say, well, it has to fit within my budget. I don't know what I'm spending. So when you're asking these questions, learn from it, but when you're asking the right sort of decisions and you haven't even talked about budget, you can't really give them a proposal if you don't know what they're able to spend, which is really, really important. You want to collect this before you do the demo and closing call, right? So the discovery questions is talking about their pain, their problems, their worries. When you hear that, they're going to be like, okay, I like it. I like what I'm hearing. I'm emotional. I want to buy. I need help. But they still need to justify it with logic. Can they actually buy? Can they actually buy this thing? That's when they're going to start thinking, and that's what you got to talk about in the closing call. But logically, do they have the budget for this? They can see, yes, they're telling you, I want to see case studies, I want to see graphs, but hold on, how much does it cost? If that's the first conversation that you have, it depends. If you came to them, they're basically they're trying to come up with a way to say, go away. If you say, hey, it's $1, I hate you. It's $10,000. You're a thief, right? It's free. Oh, no time to do this. Bye. Right? If they came to you and they talk about price, still ask a few discovery questions if you've never talked to them, just to clarify and say, yeah, I promise I'll tell you what I cost. You mind if I ask you a few questions so I can figure out, right? The rule of, you're basically redirecting with the budget, because if you talk about budget, right, it's like here, I'm going to draw something. It's like a teeter-totter, Actually, that's bad. It's offsided. It's like a seesaw. So when you're talking with someone and you're talking about your benefit, you're talking about how it can help them, you can talk about the amount of money that they'll make, you'll talk about how much less stress they'll have, and then when you drop how much it costs, it's still going to go down in their favor over here. This is going to be more, and then we talk about the price, it's going to tilt. But if you start off and you talk about, yeah, oh, you're interested, we cost $1,000 a month, and they're going to be like, oh, well, I don't, it's going to flip. This is going to flip, and then it's going to go down, and they're not going to like it, and then they're not going to be as interested. Then you have to build up enough value for them to say yes, which I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I'm not here to tell people what I do for free. I'm not here to tell people how much I cost. I have that information on my website. People just see how much I cost. But when they come to me and they say, how much do I cost? But they know a little bit, yeah. The rule of thumb is, if you're discussing budget, here's a secret. I give them ranges. I say something like, okay, well, sometimes people fall between 2 price points. Sometimes people start and they pay me around, and the trick is you got to keep them kind of small, like 500 to 750, and another is around 1,000 to 3,000. Where do you see yourself in? And they're going to say, oh, the first one. Oh, is it safe to say like $100 a month? They're going to think, oh, okay, fine. I'll give you a proposal at like 2,000. No, just, yeah, should I do something at 1,000, or do you want to see 1,000 and then like up to 3,000, right? They're going to say, no, I can do 1,000, or no, I want to do 5,000. Do you do 5,000? I've actually had people say, well, I heard that the more you spend, the more you get. Can I see what 5,000 can do? I'm like, sure, I can do that. More than happy. Right? So when you're discussing this, make sure you figure out what their budget is. Most people, they won't because they don't know. They don't because they don't. You could say something like, well, what's something that you can set aside that you believe will be impactful to get you to where you want, right? It's just something like that. Like what's something that you can afford? What's something that you can afford that you believe can be impactful, that can get you to where you want? If they have unrealistic expectations, you could kind of tell them. It's like, it's like, huh. I've done work for people who've paid more. Will piss them off and not be okay. But you could say, that's still, if they give you something that's really low, and that's something you can still work with, that's something I can do, but you have to do me. That's something. Just be like, you gotta be, no matter what number they say, you gotta be like, you gotta be sad or angry or not. That's something I can do, but you gotta do me a favor. When you start getting results, do you mind making 10 or making a dozen introductions for me, or introductions of other business owners for me? right? If you're not willing to send 12 emails to people to save an extra $1,000 or $2,000, they're a client. My clients are clients that I like, that refer me work, and they're cool and they're flexible. If I know they're going to be problematic and I cash that early, I wish I could cash them early. Oh, God. But once you have a budget, you know their criteria, you know their process, but most of all, you know their pain, which you've covered. Your money. You could close them, right? They've told you how much they have, their process, you know, all this stuff. When you're asking these questions, don't talk about budget first. Don't do that. Don't talk about who else. Don't do that. You haven't built any rapport. Talk about their pain first. It's pain, budget, decision, right? Keep that in mind. So once you have the budget and you know their pain and all this stuff, and you say, okay, cool, you mind if I map out a plan for you? Or whatever. It's like, okay, well, I can send you it. What I like to do is still do like a 5-minute call at the very least, no matter what, no matter who does it. You know, even if it's a contract, I say, great, you mind if I call you for 5 minutes so I can send it? They're going to say, fine, 5 minutes, right? Whereas like, oh, you know, they're going to tell you what you do, so you just do that. But usually, again, it's going to be just an agreement that you send, but do 5 minutes. So you can do questions, right? Some people do slides. Some people, they do the education. Obviously, the slides are things that you don't open up your slides and talk about yourself. The goal is to talk about yourself, but don't open up and talk about yourself. Have your slides talk about their problem and how you'll solve it. In the slides, if you're doing like a slideshow, show off, you know, specifically how to solve their problem, and that you're the best to do it right now because you know everything so far. In the slides, if you talk about SEO and that's all you've talked about, don't introduce that you do Facebook marketing, or don't say you do emails. And then on the especially when you have the contract or agreement and you've been only talking about the SEO, and then in there you talk about how you get them a new website, they're gonna be like, what? I don't want to pay for that. No, I don't. You don't. And then they cancel, or they stop and they leave because you basically put the rug on your own self here. Like you fell. Don't do that. The demo and the slide could literally be 5 minutes, and I just follow a very basic format. I don't even use like slides anymore. I just hop into a call. I basically recap the pain, budget, and decision questions. If they don't have the right people and they told me the right people need to be there, I just say, great, let's make sure everyone's on the call. Like I reschedule it. I'm like, fuck you. You're wasting my time too. Like, what are you doing? But if they have everything, I just kind of recap. Oh, you were hoping that we'd rank you for keywords X, Y, and Z with a budget of $2,000 a month, and you'd like to do a brief Q&A session. By the end, you'll basically tell me if you want to move forward. Sound fair? Basically you're saying, hey, at the end of our call, you're going to tell us that you want to move forward or not. You're not going to waste my time by just dragging me along, right? Is this is the time that you're going to close or not, right? I'm not saying you will, but if everything makes sense and you like it, you're going to. If they say, well, no, for any reason, not today, it's because you did not qualify, you did not ask enough questions or built rapport. 5 times out of 10, you didn't qualify. And the other 5 times out of 10, they don't know, like, or trust you yet. This is just a gross exaggeration, but mostly you didn't qualify enough. Why? Why aren't they ready? With the pain, budget, and decision questions, you gotta ask questions like, not just besides who else, but what, like when can you start? Why are you doing this? How do you want this to go about? You know, you're asking those sorts of questions. But once they have, you know, once you see your slides and you say, okay, well, we are here to talk for lawn care in Minnesota and lawn service in Minnesota for this budget, and it's just you in here. Is that okay? And you're like, yeah, great, just do it. Talk about it and just talk about it. You're done. And at the end, there's a special thing I'm going to share. It's a very special thing I'm going to share, and it's just basically, you don't have to finish the slides. You can just kind of say, okay. You know, after, if they're talking and they're nodding, you can say, hey, you know, maybe you get halfway through or you think they're just ready, just ask, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? You know, 1 being this is a waste of time, 10 now, well, if they're at an 8 or a 9, you can be like, okay, is it because you don't give 10s? Are you that sort of type where you don't want to give perfect scores? They'll laugh. But when you get to this point, if you're like a 5, and you're like, well, I just want to see your process. Guess what? Just show them the process. If they say, just want to see the contract, give them the contract. You don't have to do the whole presentation. It's actually, sometimes they get bored and then you lose them. Just ask. So do that, show them that, and then circle back. It's pretty easy. Let's suppose they sign the contract, right? Which is a whole other thing. You might negotiate. You might have to give them freebies. Like I don't like doing it, but I do it. I say, fine. If you sign up right now, I'll waive $1,000 off of the setup. Like I don't like it. But let's say you close them. Don't smile. Don't be like, ah. Be grateful. Say thanks. But what happens to some people? They get a call. They get a call the next day. Hey, I was thinking, can you hold on processing that credit card? Hey, I spoke with the wife. Oh no, she was part of the who else? Can we wait till next week? I promise I want this. But finances, when you're closing, there's a trick that it works or it doesn't work. And so far, it's honest and it keeps people honest and it helps your clients really see your value. I'm going to share this if everyone raises their hand. No, just kidding. Not everyone can raise their hand. I'm sure there's some people here. But raise your hand if you want me to share this. It's called post sell. It's really interesting. All right. You basically give them the contract, right? Wait, I don't know. I got like 3 hands going up. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. Well, that's a majority, I guess. Okay. You give them the contract. Once you give them the contract, what you can do, if they sign it, look at it, and then push it back. You push it back. You say, look at it. Is this what you want right now? They're going to think. They're going to say, he literally has the ink on the paper. Do I want to really do this? He's giving me a way out. He's doubling or nothing. most times, like 90% of the time, I would say, like, depending on how you qualify, right? They'll say something like, yes, of course. But sometimes it'll be like, well, I was really thinking about this, and this. And then you just try and help them. And then let's say they were like, okay, actually, I'm good now. You helped me. Cool. Sometimes they actually do have to talk to the wife. Sometimes they actually do need to think about it. Actually, sometimes they do need to look at their finances. And what you can do is say, you know, listen, in the contract, you can then, there's a 3-day, if you want to cancel, you don't have to pay, but I'm not coming back here to do this. Another way they can close, it's not aggressive, but it's like, you know, I know that my best clients are the ones that know what they know what they want. If you sign now, I'll waive the startup cost. You know, it's like $1 or $2 grand. I'll continue to waive the startup cost. Otherwise, next time we talk, the next time we talk, we need to restart all of this, and I'll need to add the cost. I've already removed it here, but that's that. I've already removed it already. They're gonna be like, wait, you already gave me a promo? It's like, yeah, usually companies charge $2,000 the first month and then $1,000 every month because you have to work hard in the first month. It makes sense, right? But the most important thing is you get them to double down. I appreciate it, but take another look. Is this what you need to solve your problem, right? Like, phrase it in your way. Obviously, you're the one to help. Take another look. Is SEO what you need to solve your ranking problem? You know, whatever. They're going to say, well, yes, right? They understand that you're trying to get them to, you know, kind of double down and confirm. So that's kind of what you do in the closing. But to kind of recap, we have the you know, you're finding and you're, you know, basically prospecting. You're making an opening. You're qualifying, and then you're doing a demo or you're closing. You can vet people here. Obviously, if you don't know anything about dentists, they're really hard to talk to, right? You don't have to find dentists. You can just find a different niche. When you open it, tailor it to that niche, and when you qualify it, ask the right questions, and when you close their problems. But how can you set their expectations and start strong? A campaign is really just something that you want to make sure that they're on the same page, but you got to make sure they know a lot of things, and these are things that you educate them on over time. So when you sign someone on, just do this. Do a kickoff. Have them do a survey, and you collect info, and then just put it in like in some sort of project management tool. That's it. Just do those 3 things, and you're going to do better than most freelancers, most companies actually when it comes to this. Educate them on what will happen as it happens. So the idea is they buy now, you sell later, right? They buy it, and then you sell them what you tell them what they bought. You tell them what they bought as it happens. Like, that's just, yeah, you know, we're building out content for you now. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's just part of what we need to do. Oh, you're selling them on the idea of ranking, but you're just doing the work that needs to be done, and then you educate them. Hey, we're optimizing your site. Oh, you didn't talk about that. Yeah, we're just doing it. Oh, they feel like that's valuable, that they got it. Because when you feel like they're understood, everything you say after it is just good. It's just extra value. So set the expectations and manage the project. Make sure the info is in one place, that you don't have to, reset your password on their sites like 50 times because you forgot. Like, that's really amateur. And I do it still, LastPass, and I'm still, it sucks. But try and keep the info all in one place and then update them. Month should be really flashy. I believe it should be flashy. The second month, you should show some result. In the third month, they should feel the result. And then everything after that is money, right? Once they feel the result, they're going to keep paying you. They're going to be like, yeah, this is great. This worked. Some people, they set up their system, and then once they're actually working, they can kind of see like the big picture. So if people are coming in, like if this is like, they have their marketing process, I'm using cogwheels. If they have their marketing process, they get someone calling the front desk, and they get leads, and they get someone calling their business, and then it goes to like their salesperson that actually talks to them. Maybe it's like an estimator. Like if they do roofing, they're all interconnected. The salespeople are talking to the marketing's talking to the secretary, asking them how many leads they got, and then they're dealing with the actual technician. So the salespeople are closing they're seeing that. So all these things are interchanged. The salespeople are working with the actual finance part of the company, and then they're talking with this manager to see who can work on those days. So if I'm helping a company, I'm really boosting how many times their marketing works and how many times their front desk gets results, right? They also have, if they're servicing, they also have people that do customer service, right? They have people that kind of follow up to make sure that the project's worked on, right? These are people that talk. They understand this. Like, this is just like a business model that just works. So when people get a good service, they get like this feedback effect. It's going to come back, and then it's going to help them with referrals. If you talk to that and educate them on other things, like, yeah, I do marketing, but I know how marketing impacts their sales, but I know how it impacts their service. Do you have enough technicians? I know how that's going to put a little bit of stress on your problem. Hey, I know that you're getting a ton of jobs now. Does your office manager have enough software in place to automate it? Are you guys using electronic invoicing? I know how you guys can do that. I can just share that with you. Oh, your front desk doesn't know how to answer some of these questions? I have a script that I could give to you, to your front desk. So when they answer the phone calls, they can say, hi, this is a great day at Bob Plumbing. How can we help? Right? Have them practice that, and that's how you can get more money. Right? Things like that allow you to create real value, and you don't become like a vendor. You become like a real partner in the company. To say stuff like, hey, I have a guy that you should talk to. You should probably reach out to him, right? You've been helping me so far. You're really knowledgeable. You sound like you're a genius. Let's work together. Here's his number, right? So, answering some questions. I'm gonna try and wrap this up. I don't know if this has been a good session for everyone, but I'm going to answer some questions here. What essential steps need to be taken before jumping into prospecting clients? Well, you got to filter out your leads, prioritize them, have a strategy, print it out, right? Know what you're going to say, but really just practice. You could build and rank your website, but ranking will take 3 to 6 months. So you could start off with web design, right? And say, we do web design. You don't have to talk about SEO first. You can talk about it second, right? You can show off web design right away, right? But you're basically, the conversation is, I can help more sales. Can I show you how? What happens if a prospect asks for a track record, but you don't have any yet? Yeah, web design is easy to show. If you don't have a track record, I'm keeping this special because I get this question I do this. I don't have any results. How do I sell SEO? There's a secret that I have and it works. Like I'll be able to show you that later. What does the contract include? Do you demand higher payments like you rank for some target keywords? I don't guarantee results. Don't guarantee results. If you're a gym owner and someone comes in and they say, if I buy this, do you guarantee that I'll be skinny and strong? No, of course not. If you're a dentist and you go, hey, if I get a teeth cleaning, do you guarantee that I won't have any cavities? No, of course not. There's all these factors. But you negotiate, like you have your process, and if it takes $1,000 to do the process, that's your cost. But if it's more competitive, like if it's in the city, obviously, yeah. Like I basically would, like, you know, if it's a roofing company and they do like $10 million a month and you want to target the biggest city, yeah, I'm going to have to basically say, yeah, you know, I'd be able to do this for $5,000. They're going to say, yeah, you know, if you target a roof, let's say you make a website right now, roofing, and you have a city. Let's say it's roofing in Washington, DC, right? And you have a website called Washington, DC Roofing. If you make this website and you get calls, what's the value of a call? A call could literally be worth $10,000. A roof install could be $30,000. Practiced, and you made a website, and then you leased it, or you showed it. And you say one job, what percentage of that will you be willing to pay? They're going to say, well, maybe 5,000. Okay. And just say, yeah, I can probably send you a few of these for 5,000, right? I have a potential customer who asks to be ranked on 8 keywords for their old non-WordPress website. What do you do when you come across such problems? I don't know what you mean by they want to be ranked on 8 keywords. I mean, what do you mean? Like they just want to show up for 8 keywords? Why not 80? Why these 8? Are they really hard to get? Are they valuable? I just asked, like, why those? Are there alternatives? Obviously, there's millions and millions and millions of keywords. Why those? I don't do like I rank for one keyword and then I charge 1,000, right? That's stupid. They could rank for like 100 keywords and pay 1,000, but it's part of what you're negotiating. But if it's something, if they're like a lawn care company in Minnesota, the keywords that they want to show up would be like lawn service, Minnesota, you know, lawn, you know, lawn mow, you know, cut grass near me, or hardscaping. You know, they want to show up for those keywords. Obviously, you add in your city to these terms, but those are the keywords that actually bring in money. But yeah, pick the right keywords for them. What's the difference of the service when they have a smaller or bigger budget? That's on you, dude. But when you have your own process, that's when you can figure it out. I charge with the audit, I charge to $4,000. Well, really, it's been $3,000 lately with COVID. But that's how much it takes for me to do this. How many hours does it take? It takes me like 10 hours. It takes me maybe 15 hours if it's like a really bad site or a new website, right? But that's based on it. So if they have anything that's like 500, I don't even touch their website, right? That's not even $6,000. That's like $6,000 in, you know, in like 6 months. That's $6,000 in an entire year, right? 500 times 12 would be $6,000. That's terrible. Like I could get a client that would pay that. Like I could find someone that could pay twice as much, right? I'm not trying to do charity work. When you say start by selling web design, is working with a designer essential if you have no design skills, or WP themes enough, especially for small business? Dude, web design is easy. It's a stream. We basically built a website in like 1 hour, for free. There's no design needed, and it's powerful and is better. It's actually better than what you see on Wix and Squarespace because it's easy on it. But there's a secret for selling WordPress stuff. Imagine that you have a website done for them and you contact them. Right? Try that out. I mean, I have a few websites. I can just give it to you. Just ask me. Like, I have it backed up. I could just give you it. There's like a few chiropractors. Like, I literally could pull up like a list of chiropractors and give it to you, and a website for a chiropractor and give it to you. Like, sales is really easy. What are the key indicators to show at our clients for the report? Impression seems to be the only way. Talked about this in the other broadcast. Analytics, Google Search Console. You can track calls. You can basically ask them how much money they got from the site, any reviews. Like I just go off of that. It's like I'm a very like, you know, I talk about feelings sometimes, but it's like, how are things? Analytics, with analytics, you can basically track their financial value on calls and leads. So if someone fills out a form, a lead is worth $100. So they got 5, so they got 100. It's like, we made you, $500 via leads, because their job might be worth $1,000 and they have a 10% closing rate, something like that. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. This has been really helpful. I'm going to be posting some of the templates. I'm just going to be posting one. I have like 30. I'm only going to be posting one email and one call one in the Facebook group. Take some time to kind of look at some of the polls. And I don't know why any of these aren't working, but I'm going to be able to take a look at these and share this with the Discord and Facebook group. You guys are great. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll talk about SEO another day. Cheers.